All right, GM everyone. Hopefully this is okay. Just gonna go for the audio. All right, so fresh off stream earlier this morning. I'm gonna get right back into it today. Sorry for this being a little bit late. It's 2:30 Eastern now. I usually start at 2 o'clock. I was had an intention to actually take some of the clips and the videos that I've streamed over the last week and change, and cut them up and use them for Twitter and Instagram. That's kind of been the goal. I sat down today, for about 2 hours, like going through clips, trying to edit and get them into a format that made sense. And I realized it's a lot more work than I realized. So I'm going to work on a process to get that out. But the idea being, these streams are, hey, come hang, say hi, tune in for a bit if you can. But really, this is accountability for me. It's a way for me to sort of share my process, have video of everything that I've done on a particular project, and then highlight and share kind of the best content throughout the week. So I appreciate those that have been able to tune in. It's been super fun to have people dropping in the chat, asking questions, saying hi. I've got lots of ideas on what to do with this whole thing in the future, including bringing in some other artists, just doing some Q&As, having fun. But for now, we're just sort of getting used to the process, getting used to the tools, understanding how to do this like crazy, crazy world of live streaming. People that do this like full time, it's pretty crazy for people to be able to do this. So this is Restream. This is you're going to see kind of a duplicate here in a second, but I'm just trying to get the chat up, which I can never seem to remember where this is. So give me a second. This is the actual destinations, heading out. So we're live streaming. Just for now, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm live streaming out on YouTube and on Twitter and on Twitch and on Facebook. Kind of a cool process to see that all work. I'm looking for, let me see. I'm looking for where that live chat is. If you give me a second, I know there's some comments here, but there's another way to get this up on my screen so that I can respond to people as I go. You would think this would be a lot easier. Maybe this is it. Yeah, this is the chat. Okay. This should do the trick. I was just looking for something to actually get up and running, but this will do the trick. I'll keep this going over here. If I can get it. There we go. And okay, so today's stream is a bit of a detour from what I've been doing kind of the last few weeks. So what I've been doing in the morning is I've been doing Blender, and in particular working on a meme card, we call it, a derivative of a currently created 3D render that I've already minted and put online on Super Rare. And I've been working on the meme version of that, which is hopefully going to go into the 6529 collections as a follow-up to my previous meme card called Open Roads, Open Metaverse. However, in the afternoon, what I've been doing is working on a interactive environment, an actual interactive game that I've been building on top of Fortnite. Fortnite is something I discovered a couple weeks ago, because kind of blown away by what is possible within Fortnite. Never been a Fortnite player. Didn't ever play a game of Fortnite until maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when my little nephew showed me it on Switch. And I kind of got this thing in my head of potentially, because I know Unreal Engine and because Fortnite is cross-platform, it could be a medium for me to actually release kind of a game concept or a world concept that I have, which is to bring my real-world landscapes that I create, typically in Blender, into Unreal Engine and then into Fortnite, so people can actually walk around and experience them, which is the goal, the ultimate long-term goal for what I do. So fingers crossed. This should be able to work today, but what I'm actually doing is I had been prototyping last week, if you look at the streams, in a 3D location in Patagonia in Argentina. And don't want to repeat the story, but basically collaboration with another artist, definitely still doing it, but just didn't, timing wise, it was like kind of clicking in my head that what I should be doing is I should be focusing on Cathedral, because I do have a currently available piece on Super Rare. It's currently up for sale. Potentially the meme card coming. I really want to focus all my attention on Cathedral, which is based in Sedona, Arizona. And the goal today is going to be for us to basically fix the terrain that I have been using to create the meme card. And hopefully, with any luck, by the end of this stream, be able to get a working live landscape imported into Unreal Engine. And during that process, I will show you where I currently am with my Unreal Engine work, because I've been kind of, bouncing back and forth between the two. I'll just hide that. But yeah, bouncing back and forth between the two, Blender and Unreal Engine. But I've actually made quite a bit of progress in terms of bringing these landscapes into Unreal Engine. I just haven't done it with Cathedral. So let's bring up a few things together and we'll walk through it. If there's any questions about my process, what I'm doing, how it works, what my goal is, how this relates to photography, whatever you want to ask, drop it in the chat. The only place that I don't get chat is on Twitter, or X, which is unfortunate because that's where I think the majority of my audience would be for this type of work. If I go into the actual stream, I can usually see if people have commented, but I don't think that I can get them on my screen right now. So if you're on Twitter, feel free to drop a comment in here. But if you want to actually interact, I would love it if you just dropped over to either YouTube or Twitch. And YouTube or Twitch will be able to actually take the comments. Facebook as well, but YouTube or Twitch are probably the easiest. So let's walk through this really quickly, and then we're going to get right into Cathedral. So a couple things to kind of highlight here before we get going is I specialize in making 3D renders from real world locations. That process is very complicated. It requires getting data from a variety of sources, including satellite imagery, radar from from space, LiDAR from fixed-wing airplanes, sometimes LiDAR from drones, sometimes LiDAR from the ground, sometimes photogrammetry, a ton of reference photos, just as much data as I can get on a particular location goes into making these renders realistic as possible, but also based on real data, based on the real location. So that process takes time, and it's something that I'm working on perfecting, and I'm kind of continuing to change my technique, adjust my technique, all for the goal of making this basically happen as efficient as possible. So you're going to see some of the progress I've made today. We're going to walk through a few things. And ultimately, the goal, though, is to get a fully interactive area, an area of interest, we call it, around this particular scene. So previously, I have done these particular scenes in Oregon coast. This is the Sedona Head Lighthouse right here. So this is the original 3D render that I created, which is in the hands of NorCal guy. This is Cathedral, which is the one we're currently going to work on today, which is a non-interactive, just a still image, still render of Cathedral Rock in Sedona, Arizona, USA, if you're not from that area. And then I've also done Fuji, which is over here. This may not come up very well. Let's see, in OpenSea, yeah, it does. And Fuji is actually the same thing, a 3D render, except Fuji has 20 different weather and lighting conditions built into it. So this is an interactive NFT perfected by the team at Transient Labs. So those are the three that I've done, but this is the current one we're going to work on. And if we zoom out, I can show you a little bit about this area. So this is Sedona, based in the USA, and if you flip North America around, it makes a little more sense. So if you scroll all the way down here to Arizona, you look for Phoenix, you go north, just south of Flagstaff, you see Sedona. And if you scroll in and you look for the airport here, this is downtown Sedona if you've ever been here. Here's the airport. And if we take a look here, we've got Crescent Moon Picnic Site, Cathedral Rock, and Cathedral, our secret Slick Rock Trailhead. So this location is somewhere that I've scouted for a long time. I've been there now twice in person. And what's really unique about this location is if you scroll in here, I have parked my van right here in this parking lot for multiple days, because what's particularly unique about this spot is you hike your way through here to this kind of like open exposed area. And if you look really closely, there's these like really interesting patterns in the rock face. And what happens is when it rains, these fill up with water, which doesn't rain very much in Sedona, but when it does, these fill up with water. And if you zoom out, you'll actually get this incredible reflection of the water of Cathedral Rock. And it makes for a photo that ends up looking like you're literally shooting across a lake. So to give you an example, you saw the photo. This is the actual, or you saw the render. This is the render. And, you know, kind of the idea here being, it looks like a little bit like a lake. You know, you're shooting just a standard landscape photo across the lake. And if you scroll down here, this is a photo I actually took on location. So this is like a really, really unique place, and it made for a really cool concept for a 3D render, and one that I have been like, I just was obsessed over, because the forced perspective of this looking like a lake really makes for a cool concept for a miniature, like an actual miniature version of the scene. So let me just show you that really quickly. So this is a work in progress, but this is some mock-ups and some ideas for this meme card that I'm working on. And as you can see here, I've moved the camera angle. This is a bit of an older version. I can bring up the newer one here in a second, but this is a mock-up of how this is going to look. And the camera here is actually just moved from that original location. I'm just going to bring up Blender and show you from this original location, right? So from here is where the camera's setting up, right in this little spot down here. And if we go back to here, you can kind of get an idea. The camera is sort of across this pond, shooting towards Cathedral Rock. And you can see in this version, it's kind of zoomed in and kind of shooting a little bit lower with the guy in the front and the background. So here is the current work in progress for Blender. And then we're going to get right into the Unreal Engine stuff here in a second. So just give me a second. I'm probably just bounce in here, take a peek at, you might not see this on the screen. I'm just still trying to come up with like a really cool way to see how this stream, is going. Okay, cool. All right, so little sneak preview. If we look at this scene over here on the left, we'll bring our Blender all the way in so we can see it. Hopefully the audio is better. I had some issues with the audio last time, and I'm hoping that I fixed it. Let's see. Hopefully that's not too bad. Okay, so you can see here that if I go into rendered mode, this is our night mode. So let's switch this back to day. And with any luck, we're going to see this coming in. So this icon here, you can see the corner of it is Punk6529. So this is the owner of the collection that I'm working on, or the meme card collection. And I was just working on something on the stream earlier today. You can watch it if you want. I'll clip it, where I'm incorporating some new, I guess, Web3 crypto NFT lore into this process. Hopefully this is going to work. It's I'm finding that combination of streaming and rendering and all these things is a little bit tough, but hopefully I get this to work. Come on, let's go. Okay, so getting a little crazy with the fog because I've been flipping between a night mode and a day mode. So I'll just get rid of the midground fog here for a second. You can see it. So with this scene, you can see that we've got like the zoomed in close-up view. We've got, a little bit of a pond here with the bobber, this dude fishing. We got a tent and the original Volkswagen bus. And if we actually just go to the other camera that I have in the scene, which is this one, and we go to full screen, you can actually see that same composition. So you can actually see the same composition that we had in that original card. So from here to here. it's not color graded. The actual fog is a little bit crazy, which we can just sort of, bring down. It's probably, yeah, not going to work very well because we've got the lighting turned. Okay, the point is, yeah, the lighting is sort of a little bit gone wonky on this one because I keep changing things around. Let me see if that does it. Yeah, that's probably going to be a little too slow to do. But yeah, the composition is basically the same. And if we actually go ahead and change, this to 10 or 1920 by 1080, you can see it's essentially the same composition. It's the same scene as you would see here, just with the bus in front and the guy here. And then when we bring our camera up to there, we get the composition for the meme card. Okay, so the point of that was that the flexibility that we get from creating an actual 3D scene, not just sort of stacking images or, sort of like only putting in the scene what we care about, is pretty powerful, and it can let you do a lot of stuff as an artist. Now, I ran into a ton of issues with this scene because I had to source LiDAR data to get good terrain data for Cathedral, and they had basically a dead zone all the way through here without LiDAR data. And the problem with that is then I actually had, the composition I wanted was from this area. So I had to kind of reconstruct a little pond area for this scene and place it kind of higher in the scene and line it up to make it work. But that's not ideal, and that's not what I typically like to do. So what I'm going to work on today is I'm going to work on getting an actual area of interest set up for Cathedral so that I can bring it into Unreal Engine and actually make it interactive so we can walk around, change the lighting, change the camera, change the perspective, the whole thing. Then eventually we're going to move that into Fortnite, and I'm going to actually show this actually running live. So let's close this here. I don't know how far we're going to get today. I streamed for 4 hours, so we'll just work until until the 6 o'clock Eastern. Okay. So this is something that I was working on yesterday, and I'm gonna warn you now, if this isn't already boring enough, if you're not into this kind of 3D stuff, this part's going to get really excruciating if I can't solve this. So I'll explain what I'm doing. I will attempt to do this on the stream, but I'm hoping that this is not one of those like, oh shoot, we need to go and actually figure this out offline situations. We'll see. So let me just see. I can't remember if I actually created a project for this. We're going into Cathedral, working. We don't. So we'll create a project and we'll get this going. Okay. So this is QGIS, and it's the worst software ever made by a human ever. I wish I could put into words how much I hate this thing. And I don't have let me just fix this quick. Okay, hopefully that's not too bad. I don't have a background in GIS. I learned some of this stuff in a couple jobs that I did in my previous career. And if you are a GIS person, you're going to be like, okay, you're stupid. This is how you do it. But GIS it's tough, and I find it to be incredibly difficult to use this program. But I'm gonna give it a shot to show you how this works. So up in the top here, I'm going into some of the source data that I have for this project. And the first file that I've got is this file right here, which is, I'm going to import it, which is a height map in GeoTIFF format, float 32, bear with me, I'll explain it, of Cathedral Rock. So what that means is that GeoTIFF, meaning that it is geospatially referenced, which means even though this just looks like a square, a box on the canvas, this is actually set up properly in its real world location, its latitude, longitude, in geospatial space, I guess. And what that means is if you import another GeoTIFF, you can line them up. They will automatically line up if they are set to the same projection, and it gets into this all these technical nonsense that's so hard for me to kind of wrap my head around. But basically, as long as they're georeferenced with the right projection, they should basically overlap. And that means that you can work with multiple files, on a canvas, and they sort of automatically map to the correct location. So this is the first file I have. This was acquired from the regional municipality in Sedona, and it's actually pretty good detail. They flew an airplane around Cathedral Rock, and they ran a bunch of laser sensors out the airplane, and what it did was it came back with this file, which like on a stream to our eye doesn't look that crazy, but there's actually way more data in here than you can actually show on a screen. So a typical screen is only showing like a luminance value of 1 to 255, like a typical pixel. If you've ever worked in Photoshop and you look at your red pixels and your green pixels and your blue pixels, there's a range usually from 1 to 255. If you put RGB at 255 each, that means all three are at the highest brightness or luminance, which makes white. If you put them all at 0, that is the lowest luminance, which makes black. This is using black and white luminance. So on screen, you're only seeing, values of 1 to 255, but the file itself is using like float 32 is like, I don't even know if it's 32 million or it's some crazy number, right, of actual values, which means that every pixel in the scene is being mapped to a different luminance value, which represents height. So when you go back to Google Earth and you look at this scene and you go, well, look, there's Cathedral. It's kind of the highest thing in this area. Here's this valley, this river. It's kind of the lowest thing. And then there's some sort of variation around it in terms of height. And you can see that in QGIS. There's a river down here. This is our area where we actually have no data. And then this is the highest point of the scene, and there's a gradient. Okay, so this is great. The problem is, and the problem I got to solve to do this properly, is I want to fill out the scene. So ideally, what I would have is I would have a bigger box around this, and it would have lower resolution data, which I have, and it would overlay. So we would have low resolution data where it's low res, and we'd have high resolution data where it's high res. And if we do that, cool thing is we can actually combine these two files and make like a nice scene that we import into 3D software and start to build out Cathedral. So that's my goal today. Hopefully it doesn't get too intense with me just troubleshooting, but I'll bring you along for the ride. I'm going to be probably Googling a lot of stuff and figuring it out, but hopefully we can get this into some 3D software where things get a lot more fun. Okay, so the other file I have, I can't remember the exact ones, is I have two height maps from radar from the Japanese Space Agency. Don't ask. This was one of the ways I was able to get data for Fuji. And I can show you, so if I bring these in, there's three files. This is the one I want, the DSM, okay? And I want this one in. So now I have three files in this. And if we zoom out, well, just like I said, they're georeferenced. So file on the right is mapped to file on the left, and you can see they line up. And if we scroll all the way in here, well, actually, if we bring this one on top, look at this. There is Cathedral. In this big scene, this huge radar scene we have with all these, crazy erosion and hydrology going here with rivers and lakes, like this is the tiny scene that we're working in. If you turn it off, you can see, look at the resolution difference. On here, you barely have a height map. If we were to use this data, it would look pretty awful when it comes to actually using it in 3D scenes. So let me just see. Okay, I think this is good. So what we're trying to do, which is something I wish that I knew better, and I just wish I could tag some GIS friends to show up and answer my question for me. Maybe I'll do that, actually. I know a couple people on that I could tag, and if I can't figure it out, I'll tag them and ask them to come join and teach me. But really what I want to do is I got to do, there's a couple things. Okay, so the first one is we have to normalize the data between all three of these. So notice that like this one looks lighter than this one. And the reason for that is if we open it up, typically with these files, they will range from whatever the highest point of the TIFF or of the area is to the lowest. So this represents, it should represent, we can just double check, it should be in meters. I don't know why it wouldn't be in meters. It should be in meters. Let's assume it's in meters. Makes a lot of sense. So this is from 2,587 meters high at the brightest point. That's this guy here. Okay, this one. So it's 2,500 meters at the highest point, 602 meters at the lowest point. So if you zoom in, you can kind of figure it out. Looks like the highest point in this one is probably somewhere up here, and then the lowest point is somewhere in, probably this valley, in this river valley down here. But this one is actually from 2418 to 1363, so its contrast is going to look different. And what I'm trying to do is normalize these along with this file, which you can see in this one, we've got 5007 to 3962. Now, like, good GIS person's going, well, knows exactly what's going on here, but there's obviously something different about the units. I don't know what that would be or why that is. Maybe it's just not normalized properly. Maybe there's something I missed. But we have to try to get these normalized, or the actual, files won't connect together. So I'm just going to look through this and see if there's anything that pops up for me in terms of explaining what that format is. There is also typically metadata that comes with this stuff. Actually, my buddy that helped me with this, he actually converted this from a LiDAR file. And I wonder if when he did it, he converted it differently. So I'm just thinking out loud. That's definitely not 5,000 meters. There's no doubt. That's wrong. But I think is what you can do is you could probably sample those locations. So again, QGIS, the worst software on earth, has somewhere in here like a sample. Yeah. So if we go 46. Okay. So I'm going to just sort of write down some of these numbers. So if you look at this and I don't know if I'm going to need this or not, but basically the actual data from Japan is suggesting that for Cathedral Rock, which again, let's just bring this up, is right here. Like, we need to get a point on here, ideally the highest point, to normalize this. So the best way to do this maybe would be just hit the middle of this, because this is sort of a pretty, like, I know what this spot is. This is like inner here. It's this. So maybe we can normalize it with this data. So I'm going to just try to, now I'm sure there's a way to add like a little point here, but I'm just going to grab it and see what we get. I wonder if this is, okay, interestingly enough. So it's saying 1,500. So I'm just going to write this down. I think, yeah, so it's 1,500 meters, which is a round number, but, be nice. So, like, the end result that we want is the data in this file to read 1,500 meters at that location. So we zoom out. Oh, no, wait. It's 15. Did it do? Sorry. It's a little bit bad with navigating. I just don't know if it's actually, which one of these files is actually showing. Right, so 4942, right? So this file, which is the high-res one, is showing 4942. So the question is, okay, that's doing on and off. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to actually, there we go. Okay, so it's somewhat useful. So, give you an idea of the resolution, 49:42, which we had. It's this pixel right here. Okay, so 1497. Okay, so it's actually 1497. Okay, so, and by the way, there's like a good indication of why this low resolution data doesn't work. This is actually better. There's kind of free height data out there in the world. It's called SRTM. It's from the old space shuttle missions. It's kind of available free in every software, and it's I think it's 90 meter, which means that like one pixel is 90 meters on the ground. I thought this was 30 meter. So one of these pixels is 30 meters across, which kind of makes sense because if you look at this, like these little things, if you were to stand on them, I bet you they're probably, 15 meters across makes sense to stand on one of these. That's pretty big. So one pixel here is covering that whole thing. So it's just a blob. Like it looks like nothing. But when you get into here, look how big the pixels are. If you scroll in, like one of these is I think this LiDAR data is 1 meter, maybe even a half meter. So like one of these on the ground, one pixel is like half meter. If I overlaid some satellite data on this, you would see how small it is. The point of that story, is just that this other data sucks. It's great for like large scale terrains and like kind of having some additional information, but you need this high resolution data to make this whole thing work. Okay, so there is a couple ways that I could think of to do this. Should be a normalization tool inside of QGIS. The question is whether this original data is actually wrong. This data here, because if this data is wrong, then it's not. I don't think it's gonna normalize. So what we'll do is we'll test this with these two, because we know these two are from the same source. They're correct. And what we end up wanting is to merge these two together, and what that would end up with is a source or a file that would have the same range in these two. So I'm going to go into, I know there's something up here, merge, and I'm going to grab both of these files, and I'm going to change the settings, which is back here. So we want still float 32. We don't, the no data thing is, I don't know if these would have a no, listen, I don't know if it's going to cause a problem. Basically, in every one of these files, like there'll be a no data. So it'll be like blank, or like zeros assumed to be no data. And if that's the case, you want to set the new file as like a no data 0 if you want it to be transparent. But I don't. I want the whole thing to be in. So I think we're okay. So let's just save it to a temporary file and just see if this runs. Okay, so that's good. So we know that works. So now if we turn off these two files, we have a merged file, which is perfect. So now we see 602, the bottom of this one, with 13 or 2587, the top of this one, which is perfect. So now we have a perfectly merged file between these two. This is where I think it's going to go wrong. So if I want to merge now this guy and this guy, I was trying this earlier, and this is where I think I'm running into issues, and I got a feeling it has to do with the fact that those numbers are just wrong. So let's merge BG99 and merged, and we'll go back to the settings. I don't think we need to change anything else. I'm 99% sure this is not going to work. Yeah. Okay, so we got a problem, which is how do we merge these two files? So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to just do some quick research and see if I can find something. QGIS tutorials are not, they're not exactly like prevalent and easy to follow. But I'm going to see. So merging two GeoTIFFs, QGIS, different scales. Is maybe what we're looking for. Like I can't like logically. I think the reason why this is not going to merge is because the ranges are totally off. So if you had two files, right, and you were trying to merge them together, and the ranges don't even overlap, then how is it going to ever merge it? It's going to be like, well, these files don't match and it can't output anything. So I think I'm going to have to remap this. And I'm going to look and see if maybe that's a better way to do it. So how to remap GeoTIFF height range float 32. I have like a mental, I have a logical way that I would do it, which is like I would look at the lowest, like I have the reference, so I would look at the highest point of the scene, the lowest, and I would just like range it to that. Oh, I'm just going to follow my instinct and see if I can do this and see if the end result is pretty good. So I know the data from these files, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to see if I can get the opacity of this thing dropped. There must be an opacity. Single band gray. Oh, interesting. No. Yeah, it's black and white. Single band gray. Okay, so the settings are the same. Okay. I was looking for opacity, but I think I can do it. Okay, so what I need is I need the highest point of this scene. I need the actual height in. So I need to find the highest point of this scene here, of this file, BG99, and the lowest, which we know what the lowest is. It's here, although this could be an issue. So I'm going to probably find like a lowest point in here, and I'm going to manually set those values to whatever they actually are in this file. So I assume these files are right, assume this file's wrong, and I'm just going to see if I can normalize it manually. These GIS people are going to kill me. You know what? Let me go tag someone. It's a buddy that's been talking about this on, and I wonder. It's gonna go on Facebook, and I'll just tag him. Oh man, Windows. Okay. Let's just looking for this stream. Oh, This is so stupid. I mean, I almost forget how Facebook works. Okay, so share. I'm going to share this now to my feed. Which of course didn't work. I don't. Nothing makes sense. I'm just I'm on Facebook and I'm just looking. It's like it says 3 comments, but it says 3 comments, but oh man, I can't even send a. I can't even send a message. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if you'll have a chance. And I don't even know if I'm seeing the comments, to be really honest, because I'm trying to sort. Yeah, let me just close this. Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Sort of understand. I was just trying to get the actual commenting live on Facebook. I guess it's going to come in to the chat if it happens, though I don't know for sure. Restream analytics. I mean, let's hope. Okay, back to this, and then we'll see. So, yeah, I'm just going to take a shot at this. So again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the highest point. So I'm sure there's an easy way here to actually get the highest point, but I know that the highest point is at 50725. I know for sure that there's got to be a way to get that data. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I'm just going to take a peek and see what the highest point is. Probably this one on the right hand side towards the top. Okay, so it's somewhere probably in here at 5007. There's got to be a way to find. Okay, let me Google that. How to find the point with a specific height in QGIS. I'm just going to move this microphone. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I know how to find a height for a point. It's like, it's always the answer in QGIS. It's like, okay, go import it in here, like go download GDAL, like run this code. It's like, come on, like give me just, like, give me the highest point of this thing. Give me that. I shouldn't, I mean, I'm sure this is one of these things where QGIS is just built on top of, some Python code base. I'm sure that's probably what GDAL is. Yeah, it's just like Blender. They've built a user interface. It's just Blender's a little bit more mature. So I'm just scrolling around. I mean, I wish I could maybe I can get the actual coordinate and then I could get that data in. It just really would want you got to have the highest point, or I don't think this works. Because I'm going to have to normalize it to whatever that file is. So we're looking for 5007. And I would have guessed that it's going to be like, it's not here. It's either on this one or this one. But if you look at Google Earth, again, just eyeballing it. And you look at this thing, what's the highest point of that? It's definitely this, right? So it's definitely on this side towards 3. So it's basically somewhere in here. 4988, 4911, 5. We're getting close. It's like a game of where does the map get higher? Where does the map get lower? Oh, 503, 504. Oh. It's like Carmen Sandiego for height maps. I mean, that's close. Oh, we went down. Okay, this is as close as I've gotten. 50655. So we're really close. It's going to be 50655 is the closest. Like, there could also be like a rogue pixel somewhere. Let's try it with this because I feel like... Okay. So... Okay. I need to open up a Notion document here. I'm just going to open up a little file and I'll put it off screen and just take the notes down because I don't want to write these files. These are too big. I need to copy and paste. So basically at 500658556, we're at 42, 74, 91, 49, at 38, 53, 139, 82. So basically this is the highest point of this map. Okay, so of this, it's close. If it's not, there could be I could have missed it by a pixel, but I think it's going to be pretty close. And if it's not, I can come back and fix it or figure out how. Okay, so now to figure out the lowest point. So the lowest point of this is 3962, and probably, it's somewhere in here. But my guess is it's going to be like, there wasn't no data in there. I don't know if you saw that. It would be ideal if it wasn't in this void because I feel like, okay, so what a terrible process. You would think. This is also like a situation where there could be, like, see that 67? There could just be data 66. No data. Okay. I'm going to try to find the lowest point that I know there's potentially actual data for. I really do feel like they missed something on here because when you look at it on the map, I think these are all grays. I don't think it's over here. It's somewhere in this. Let me just try to get a perspective on this here. So it's definitely this creek bed. So if you kind of look down here, there's this huge fall off, and then Oak Creek. Sometimes you can actually get the height from here. Well, I guess you can. I think you can do it on Google Maps. I feel like you can't do it on Google Earth, which is weird. Yeah, and then it slowly gradients up. So maybe that data is actually there. It's just so low resolution that it doesn't actually work very well. But I would say that it's going to be this river, and I would say if the river is running downstream, and I remember this river. Don't remember which way it was running. Which way does Oak Creek run? Okay, so it flows south, which makes sense. Okay, so yeah, this is south. So Oak Creek. I lost my spot. Here. Okay. Okay, so if you look at this map, you're going to say that somewhere this river is running. Okay, this is the high point. This is the low. So the river is cutting through here. Yeah, the river's cutting through here, and then it's going this way. So the low point is either going to be right there, or it's going to be down here. So let's just kind of follow the contour. So the river cuts down, and we're down to 390. But then it starts going up. So I would say the river is right there. So that's definitely, it's going to flow downstream this way, and then that's going to be a lower point. So the lowest point's probably going to be here. So I'm going to look for that mound. I don't know if it's here. If we go directly across from this, it's maybe through here. Sorry for the back and forth. I'm just trying to kind of get my bearings here. Okay. It's got to be somewhere in here. 3997. 3977. 3972. That's the lowest I got. 3972. 3971. That's the lowest so far. I mean, we're pretty close. Okay, let's try over here. 3969. 3967. If the river's just cutting through and then it goes south, then this makes a lot of sense, because the furthest the river is downstream is the lowest it's going to be, and we just got to find the riverbed. 3967, I just had it. Well, I had 3967, but not 3962. Okay, 3967. 3966. 3968, 67. So if I can find that 66. Okay. I think we'll stop the search there once I get that 66 again. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's go with this one. So 3966, 684. 684. Is at 4265, 88, 6, 38, 53, 7, 81. Okay. So now I'm just thinking out loud. So we've got the 2 points. Okay, now we need the okay, so what we need is we need the altitude for those 2 points. We need the altitude for those 2 points at that exact pixel location. Without this on. Okay? So let's go and look for the first one. It's at 4274. So 7491. 7491. So it's a little bit over here. I'm just looking. I'm looking at my numbers on the right, but I'm looking at the bottom left on the screen is where it's actually outporting the coordinate. So I'm looking for 427491 9149. Okay, probably close to that. Okay, and then I'm looking for 38531. So 531 139. Okay, this is making sense. 531 139. Okay, 38531 139. Okay, so that's there. So now I need to just double check 427491. Okay. This is not scientific. Okay. So let's double check this. 427491. Perfect. 383147. Not quite perfect. Do I look? But because these pixels are pretty small, so let me see if I can get closer. 3851 3139. And then 427 491. $91 3 8 531 39. It's this pixel right here. It's this pixel right here. Okay. Oh shit. I got the wrong. I need to be on here. Okay, fuck. Do this again. Okay, 427 491. 427 491. 38531 39. There. Okay. So 42791 385339. Okay, so this is the exact coordinate, and the actual value that we have to map to is, we have to map this, so you won't be able to see this. We're mapping this to 1522. Okay, so I'll show you on the screen quick. So what I did was, this is the coordinate, this is the reference for the height. So this is the, so basically this is the top range reference. Okay, so we're using this lat long, and we're mapping the 506 to 1522. Okay. Okay, we'll just do this. Okay, so then we got to do the lower range now. So I'll move this out of the way. And, okay, so now the low range, we're looking for these pixels. So we're looking for 426588. So 6 probably way over here. Okay, so 42. We know it's going to be somewhere down in this river bed. Okay, so 426588. 6588. Zoom it in here. 426 588. Okay, so this is the correct latitude, somewhere like that. And the longitude is 3854781. So we have to go down. Okay, so there it is there. And then let's get this one lined up, 4265. I'm sure there's maybe a way to restrict your mouse to be 426588. Okay, so there it is there. 38537. 3853781. How did that happen? 3853781. Weird. I guess I was off. 3853781 is here. 42658. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, so 426588, 3853781. Okay, and the value is 1214. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that there's only a 300-meter difference. There's no way. There's no way that Cathedral Rock is that low. Duh. I don't know if there's actually... Yeah, okay, I could do it in Google Earth Pro. Google Earth, maybe? Okay. Yeah. I'm just looking. There's got to be a way to do it in... Not in Google Earth Pro. I mean, I have Google Earth Pro. Oh, okay. Okay, so look, so Cathedral Rock is 4,800 meters, and the riverbed is 4,000. So that's wrong. What am I missing? What am I missing? I mean, I guess I'm assuming that this is actual. I guess I'm assuming this is actual elevation data, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the range. It's just a little odd to me. So like, this is 2587 at the top, and 602 at the bottom. So it's got a range of, 2,000 meters. But the range that I just calculated is only 300 meters, which is definitely not right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to map it anyway, just because I'm curious what happens. Just again to summarize, this is telling that, this is saying the highest point of this is 507 and the lowest point's 3,900. The actual data that we know is right, which is this one, this is saying about 4,800 up here. I got 52, and it's got 1,200 down here. So I don't know. I'm gonna map it and just see how it looks, and maybe I'm just misunderstanding something here. So what I want to do is I want to put the max to. Well, let's do this first. Let's duplicate this. Can we duplicate? Yeah, duplicate the layer. Okay. So this is going to be. This one is going to be. How do we rename this? Okay, so this is going to be BGG 99 normalized. Okay, so basically this is the normalized data. We're going to change the symbology to 12 to 20. No, the max is 1522, and the minimum is 1214. No, that's not right at all. Yeah, I'm missing something obvious and fundamental here. I mean, ooh. Okay, so actually, one thing that's popping into my head is like, this is a massive landscape, and there's a lot of variance in elevation here, but ideally we would crop all this out and then have the variance for just like a smaller area. I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not, but let's just clip. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, here's like another one that I'm really crappy at in GIS. I want to clip this thing. I want to clip it ideally to a shape that I create. I just can't remember how we. There's like some crazy setting in QGIS. You have to like turn on edit mode. That's it. Okay. And what we want is we want to add we don't want the info. So ideally, now this is where I'm going to kind of reference here, because ideally what I want is I want the map to include a few things. So like I want the map to probably be something like include like to, okay, so I want on this side, I want this little area. So I want to have, like, I don't want to have include this range because I don't have good data for it. I'd like to buy it, but I'd love for it to include like at least a valley here. And so I want it to include that valley. I want it to include this river. I want it to include this whole area and down here. So something like that. So if I look at this map, it's super hard to tell that there's the river. I think. Okay, so just want to get the orientation right. It's more like this. So, okay, this is this. Then there's the river. The bottom of this extent is, there's a ridge, is somewhere here. So what we kind of want is this part. Probably here. I'm going to say here to here to here to here. And I don't remember how you actually end a freaking QGIS shapefile. Is it a double click? Well, I just did that. Sorry, I don't mean to swear. QGIS is, there's zero doubt, the worst software ever made. Okay, so how do I end that? Would it be enter? No. Would it be enter? No. Would it be a right click? No. How to close a polygon in QGIS. I've done it before. It's so funny. So this person's asking, like, how do I do it? What is it saying? It's saying move it away and right click should work. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what it is. I know what it is. I forgot. You have to name each thing. That's what it is. Okay. So let's try this again. Let's go from here, here, to here, to here, to here, right click, and let's call it AOI, or just give it an idea. One is fine. Okay, there you go. And then, you know, I probably should go in and like there. I read this tutorial once about how to make a perfect square in QGIS, and it's like, oh yeah, just there's nothing easy about it. But let me try this part now, and then I gotta take a break here soon. We've been going for almost 2 hours. So what we want to do is let's clip this. Let's clip this merged to this. Okay, so it's raster miscellaneous extraction, clip raster by, I think it's just by extent. And then I think the input layer is the, I think the input layer is the merged. And I think the clipping extent is the AOI. Fingers crossed. Okay. Did that work? I think it did. Okay. Plot thickens. The plot thickens. Man, this is a treat. This is a treat for anyone watching. I God hope no one's watching. Okay, no, I don't. I don't hope no one's watching. We're making progress. Because if you look now, it actually looks almost normalized on its own because there's just like a very limited range. There's probably nothing higher in this area. So if you look at the clipped extent now, even though the numbers are off, these two things look pretty close in terms of the, like in terms of the color. So the range. So now let's see, again, they're not going to probably, it's not going to probably work to merge them. Oh, that could be another reason with the merging. Could be another reason with the merging is it just could be it could be the fact that they're the same, like how it's like how's it picking which data, like I'm not telling it, you know, I want this and I want clipped, but it's not, yeah, I'm not telling it like which one to pick. So but look, the point is I think we have an AOI. Okay, so we've got an AOI, which is basically a square. We've got some low-res data and some high-res data. And if this works, what we should end up with is to come up with a way to have a single file that is like lower res on one part and higher res on another. If we can get that, we can bring that into 3D software, and now we can actually have like a legitimate map. So what I'm going to do is let me save this project. And then I'll come back, I'll take a break, I might watch a video, but it'll probably take like a 15-minute break just to be sure, and then I'll come back and I'll finish this part. So let's go working, let's go QGIS, and let's call this Cathedral. Okay, and let's close it. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, we want to save everything. Does it not just automatically save? No. Welcome to QGIS. So I'm just not going to close it. I mean, I know that these are temp files, and I know you have to save the files somewhere that you need. So really, what we want is this clipped extent file in this AOI. But good luck. I don't want to do something to screw it up. So I mean, I can save this feature as a geo package, and I can put it in. Cathedral working. QGIS. We'll call this layers, and we'll call this one the AOI. Save. And then see, like, QGIS is so great. It imports it back in. Like, it's an automatic thing. It's just a setting. I just always forget. I'm going to see if I can save this as, what is Google Maps is, maybe we probably need some plugin. I was going to try to save this as a it's, there's a file type, and I was just going to see if I can import it into Google Earth, but I can't. Okay, so that's fine. These are the two ones. I just want to make sure I have a copy of these ones just in case. So this is a GeoTIFF. We'll call this one Active Browser Cathedral Working QGIS Layers, and we'll call this clipped. We'll call this AOI clipped, and we'll call this this is radar height map. Okay, height map radar clipped to AOI. Cool. And then we'll do that. Okay, so we're leaving this up. I will be back we're going to call it 4:15 p.m. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I lied. It's a little late, 4:20, 5 minutes late. I was watching videos on QGIS and GDAL. Ooh, boy, I tell you, some of the stuff I do is pretty technical and just pain in the ass. But this is annoying. So, summarize quick where we're at. We've been trying to basically merge high resolution data, which I've already used in 3D software, which is this file right here. And what I've been really all I'm trying to do, to be honest, is I'm just trying to extend the file, okay, to this area. So we have a bit more of an area we can clip to, a little bit more, in the scene. That's really it. And what's of particular interest is actually, now that I kind of get a better feel for this, the actual location of our shot, like where the scene is somewhere up here. So where our composition is in Blender, right? So where this actually is located is, from where these shots are, is actually probably up here. And I'm trying to think back, because I did this. I swear I did this before on the Oregon host piece, which is Oregon coast work that I did, which is called Heseda. And I swear that, because I merged high resolution LiDAR data from the U.S. Geological Survey with SRTM, which is radar based low resolution data. I don't remember how I did it. I know I didn't use GDAL. Somehow I did it, and somehow it worked. I don't know why, but it's not working now. And the solution seemed to be like install GDAL and run some code and blah blah blah. So I don't know if there's some other way here. I'm thinking. There's also, an annoying manual way to do this, which is I could technically import into like Gaea, which is a tool I use, both files, and then basically like overlay one over the other and just tell it to emphasize, or tell it to like use this one like inside, like basically override it, but also then to normalize it myself manually, which probably is not going to generate perfect data, but could be okay. But I would be nice to have, a single file. So I'm going to probably play around with this for a few more minutes, see if there is something maybe I'm missing. And if I can't figure it out, then I will probably just try to export these files and bring them into Gaea and actually see if I can manually do it in there. Ultimately, like, I don't care if, as long as it is accurate. I don't really care how clean it is once it gets into Gaea, because once it's in Gaea, that's kind of like my canvas to do all these things. But I can't exactly figure out, I don't know for sure. I don't know, maybe I don't know what this pseudo thing does. Oh, now that I think about it, I think I know the thing. I know what was going on. I know what was going on in Heseda. So the reason why it worked is because those files were normalized. So those files had the same, like they were correct, I think. And I really do think that the problem here is that, this range is 5077 to 3962, and this is 1522 to 1205. I mean, that's literally all it is. The files themselves look the same because they're close to the same range, I guess. I don't know if I change this one to top part of the clipped is 1522, which is going to be that. and this is 1205. It's just like, I don't know what's going on when I do this. Like if I change this range to 1522 to 1205, I just get that. And, you know, of course, there's doesn't seem, you know, and I probably screwed that up. There's like no undo. There's no undoing QGIS. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I mean, I can just bring in the file again. It's just dumb. Five oh seven 251 to 3962.99 Okay. So I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess, right? I don't need that one. I mean, I guess they're the same now. I can just keep the whichever one, doesn't matter. Move there. Okay. I'm just trying to kind of wrap my head around, maybe there's something I'm missing here. Black to white. Black to white. Stretch to min max. Oh, sorry. Is there a normalize feature? It's a tile? Can't remember what tile index does. Okay, installing GDAL on QGIS Windows. I'll see if maybe this will do it. Okay, sure. Go to the download. Yeah, I don't need that. Okay, here is GDAL on Mac. No, on Windows. Sure. Download the open source geospatial, which provides appropriate system. Sure. It's not shady at all. Could trust planet. Can I just go Express? Yeah, let's just go Express. Okay. Find GDAL on the command line and go skip. Choose a download site. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Dude, like, who cares? Just install it. Okay, so select this command line utilities. What you want GDAL. We don't want that. Sure. Okay. It's probably gonna. Hopefully, it doesn't require a restart. If it requires a restart, we're gonna go into Gaea and see if we can make it work there. If it doesn't require a restart, then we're gonna give this one shot. I mean, I don't know how long this will take to install. I guess while it's going, I can try to get an export. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export these as, I don't think Gaea, I can't remember if Gaea uses I don't remember if Gaea can handle the geotiff or not. So let me just go see that first before well, they're all geotiffs, but basically, like, can it handle like the float 32? Okay, so here's kind of interesting. I'm going to show you some things while this is installing, because it helps kind of put into context what I have. So, hold on. Yeah, this is going. Okay, cool. So this is actually what I was working on just yesterday, and this is like really close to what I want, right? So what I did here was I brought in my original high-res file, and I also created a constant, which to kind of just, I'll unpin this and show you. So this is the original file. Okay, so this is the high-res file only, and you can see there's this sort of, area here that didn't look right to me, and I think we need a bit more data. And then I just grabbed a constant, so it's just a flat plane, and I merged them together with this mask, which is going to look hilarious here, but I'll just put it as RGB. It's just this. I just created it in Photoshop. It's just a mask between white being, one file and black the other one, and it just blends together. So what happens is when you combine these, we have to turn off this treat as RGB. When you combine these, we get this. And this is actually ultimately what I want for all of my 3D work, because one of the things about creating like real world scenes is that like those square hard edges look bad. So a circle is not only looks better in my mind, but it also is perfect for Fortnite, because Fortnite runs on these things called islands. Each island is usually kind of water on the outside, and this actually fits so nicely into that style. So this is ultimately what I want. All I've really been trying to do is just all I really wanted to do was create a wider area of interest with some more data around it. So that's what all that work was for. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Cathedral Working, QGIS, and you remember I saved a couple of those files. This is the clipped radar one, and I'm just going to see if it, so it did, interestingly, it did get the data. I want this to be, so it's, let me see, normalized. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so I just don't think it can handle. I don't think it can handle. Like, I mean, it's the data's there, but like, so yeah, the data is technically there. This is basically, oh yeah, this is gonna get annoying. The data is there, but the scale's different, right? Because, and that's not going to work. I would need, so I'm just thinking out loud. Like, it's treating both files as the same size, right? So it's not, they're not. This one is obviously extended. So if you think of like a Photoshop example, like this is just a bigger image file, essentially. And if you bring them down to the same size, they're not going to line up. So I think the only way to do this is to get them into this same, like they need to be this size, essentially. And then if they're this size, they would line up, or, I'd just be importing one file. But this is where we are right now. I mean, it's not the worst. If that's what I end up having to go with, I really didn't like how much got cut off. So when you do the circular thing, if you look at this file, you really lose a lot of information, right? You lose this whole terrain here. And like as a third alternative, I guess, to what we're doing is I pay like $100, I think, per tile with the ministry. I could order, you know, 4 more tiles, pay $400, which I don't want to do, and then I still have to get someone to help me convert it from lidar files, which is like, forget it. So I don't think I want to do that. Okay, this installation's done. So let's see. It didn't ask me to do this. So it said, when installation complete, verify GDL installation by running the following command in the OSGeo4W shell. Well, where do I get that shell? Is that shell? There we go. I think it would launch. Okay. So GDAL info version. Okay. Well, I mean, I thought I installed. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but okay. So like, great. So we've installed. So now. Okay. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So raster, but they're not here. Okay. Where I saw plugins somewhere. I swear I just saw plugins. Oh man, this software's so bad. Okay, like I did this part. I have no idea why that didn't work. But then it's like, how do we run it? Oh, this one is saying just type this. Okay, that's good. No, no data source specified. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we have it. Okay, so did it install like a different version of QGIS? No. Okay, so then how do we use this? How to use GDAL in QGIS. This is like, this one is the best one. I mean, how to install GDAL, we did that. How to launch GDAL. Okay. Okay, but I mean, I gotta say, I don't think I've ever dealt with software that I find to be...
Scripting languages of each individual programming language. If you was coming a script, you put to the
This is like, this is how like the typical tutorial for...
With the user interface, that would take you a lot of time, but here in just 5 format.
No. I'm kind of at a roadblock because I think if I can't get this too far, yeah. Oh look, there's me. Just frustrated with QGIS GDAL. Just frustrated with this.
Welcome to this GDAL on your machine. It's partially built
Here, you want to hear?
So
I don't know if we can hear this.
If you're working with geospatial data,
Oh yeah, you can hear it. Okay. Come along for the journey. If I don't know if this blocks me. This is every video ever for remote sensing. Okay, see that tool setting up there? I don't have that. Do I have it in the new one? I don't have it. Okay, so we're missing a step. How do we install? They're like 100%. Like there'll be a whole tutorial here, and they'll just not. They won't explain how to install it, and then there'll be another one for. Okay, so here's the install. Okay, whatever. Did this. Maybe I'm too impatient.
Hello everyone, welcome to Telegram. The pacing tool is already, the georeference tool is not being showing up here. So I'm going to just tell you how to install and how to fix this problem. So,
okay, plugins.
Plugins. From there, select manage and install plugins. So you can see here, you have to just type georeference. Okay, so you can automatically see.
I feel like that's what I want. I feel like I want that one-click raster stacking. I think I saw this. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Yeah, because I don't know, like, there's no install from zip. Like I don't know. Let's try this thing. So where would that be now? It's almost beautiful how bad it is. It like, I guess, you know, hey, look, if you're in this field, you know, maybe you'd figure it out. But it's like one-click raster install. It's like 17,000 people downloaded this. I installed it. Where is it? How do I find it? Like now, where is that feature? And where is the website? I get a link to this guy's. I can email him in Microsoft. Okay. probably in raster somewhere. Align rasters. Is it this? I don't remember if this was here. Okay, let's try it. This. Okay. Okay, so we want this file and this file. Okay, so reference layer is this one. That's true. We don't want to change any of this. We don't need to clip to extent because we already have it. I mean, this could be it. I don't know. I did. Okay. I mean, sure. Aligned. But like, why would you then have to have one of these, right? I don't understand. Okay, something happened. Okay. This is so funny. Okay, well, what happened here? So, I mean, it did something. It did actually merge, kind of, but it ended up like the like crappy part of this and just clipping it down to the original, and it didn't actually get. Well, yeah, like it's the band problem. I don't think that's it. The article that I got, man, this is so frustrating. The article that I found. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, this GDAL merge file. Okay, let me just go to show you that. Let's show this file here, and maybe I can figure this out together. Geographic GIS Stack Exchange. How do I combine GeoTIFF files? So this is the article. This is exactly my problem. Oh, I hate this. Okay, so I have a shapefile cutouts of GeoTIFF rasters with different metadata and sometimes resolutions. How do I merge them into single GeoTIFF? It's exactly what I want. Okay, from the command line, execute this command inside the directory of GeoTIFF rasters you wish to stack. So, I could do this on Mac. I don't have I don't have a dev environment at all set up on Windows. I don't even know where to start. So this came up with this, and then this GDAL merge is this actual command. But this is what I found, something that said like I could run this in QJS. People call it QGIS. I refuse. Just so you know. I absolutely refuse. Like, my thought process is if you have the plugin, then I mean, I don't know, unless something got installed that will solve. So this person's saying raster miscellaneous merge, which we tried, right? So I've already done this. See the same problem. What? Disk space? This is disk space issue? No, that's not true. 45 gigabytes free. How much do you need? I'll save it just to be. I'll just save it. We'll save it in Unreal Engine for now. Merged. That's not an issue. Okay, yeah, I would love to do this. I would love to do check-based configuration. How do I do that? So is this? I mean, it's running gdal merge.bat instead of .python, but like, that's it. So, I don't know why. I mean, it feels like that. Okay, so how do I disable? Okay, let's see if we can disable that. So, yeah, it's kind of, as I mentioned before, I wish I knew this stuff better, but this is so great. This is so great. This is a love. This is beautiful. It's like nobody replies. Awesome. Limits. The output raster initially given in particular input. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking for the projection, but I don't see any. Just got a freaking PhD in this, for God's sakes. You ever, the kind of the way I would describe the situation is like, I've never needed to know a particular skill set and software more in my life and wanted to learn it less. Like, I have no real interest in this particular like depth of understanding of how these things work, but it's like I cannot get away from it. Like, I just can't seem to avoid. I'm just I'm looking at the projections different, and I honestly don't really understand it. Do we want to go to the clipped? So this is EPSG 4326W. Okay, so what would happen if we reprojected this one to that? So what if we went reprojected this one? It was okay, 23.912 12N. 23.12.12. 23.12.12. 23. I don't even know. Was this one of the options? Must have been this. Was it 26.912? 20, yeah, 26.912. Okay, sorry. Okay, so it's yeah, it's 26. It's 26. It's this. We're gonna go to here. Okay, this is good. I wonder if this is gonna work now. Come on. Come Where did it go? Is that? Did I do it? No. It did it, but it took the lower resolution. It took the lower resolution. Okay. I'm gonna say like maybe progress is being made. Maybe okay, so I think I know what was happening with the merge. So it was, because you could see it in the other thread. Like the guy was saying, he said how he fixed it, but like it was command line stuff. But basically, like even though it was showing up on the map, which I don't know, if somehow probably QGIS or whatever it works, it projects it properly. They had two different projections, so when it went to merge them, it basically created like an infinite extent, and then the file size was too big. That's the best way I could describe it. So now we know we can merge them, but we still have a problem, which is that the two are, for some reason, we're not getting, like, they're not actually, grabbing the proper, what am I trying to say? They're not getting the higher resolution on this one, which is what, when I was reading, the previous thing, it seemed to be indicating that I could get the higher resolution one, and then it would overlay the bottom. So I don't think that has anything to do with like this, in terms of we want reprojected and we want clipped, but it doesn't seem like there's any order. There doesn't seem to be any order to this. So really it's just like, how do I run that? Merging a high res and low res height file, QGIS. Oh, okay. The only thing, I mean, I could take. It's 5 o'clock now. Yeah, so here's the kind of the fork in the road that I see, right? So one is I could grab my Mac and I could just get like GDAL installed in Python and just try to run that and see if that actually solves the problem. I was reading just that, people saying that the GDAL merge command works. The other option is I figure out how to get that merge command running in QGIS. If I can get that, then it's right here. I mean, all I need to do is like, it's so stupid. It's like I really just need. I mean, I really just need these two merged and exported. Like it's like it's visually right here. It's just. It's all here. It's like, look at the pixel size is here. This pixel size. I mean, it's all here. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'll switch gears a little bit. And I'll show you some stuff quickly in Unreal Engine, because this is just getting a little too tough. I'll come back to this. So one of the things we could just do is, if we bring up here, you can see this is like currently what I have, right? So I've got I've got a file here that is not full, but it's got some reasonable detail. And what I would be doing now in Gaea, the goal with Gaea would be to add a whole bunch of erosion and things to this file, to try to get this thing as detailed as possible with the data we have. But what we can do is we'll save this, and if I remember right, I should have some presets in here. I didn't save them, unfortunately, as presets, but I had figured out what the correct, what the right file format for Unreal Engine 5 is in Gaea. And I'll just sort of don't remember the settings. So I'll just grab that, and then I'll go over here and I'll export, and I'll import this into Unreal Engine. So we've got a little bit of an idea. So this is all my outputs. And in here, there is a height map. Mesh UE5. We don't want the mesh. I think it's this raw. What did we get? 16-bit U short. I don't remember. Okay, so let me just grab this. Correct raw file format height map UE5. This is my comments. Okay. 16-bit grayscale. That's Unity. Little Indian byte order. Little Indians. I love people like this. These are my people. It's 16-bit. Okay. Cool. No, I love these guys. These, as per the documentation, guys are the greatest people on the internet. Okay, so we'll just keep it simple here, and we'll just bring this out and bring it into an export. Okay, sorry, what is it? What is the freaking node? Sorry, what is the node? Output. Sorry, output. Okay, and then we're gonna change this to raw 16-bit, and we want normal build. We'll bring it at 4,000, should be good. And I think that should be fine. We'll go into, because we can always try the other one too. So, sorry, what I mean is, I already have these GeoTIFF files, like just standard without that, so working Gaea. So output, and we'll go, yeah, this is great. Okay. I don't think we want to, well, okay, I've gone into this before in terms of the height and scale and stuff, but whatever. We'll get this into Unreal Engine and just sort of see how it looks before we go and start to like normalize it and make sure that the exact height and everything is there. So, okay, so we got an R16 file. I think, was that what I asked for? No, I wanted raw on 16, so let's do that again. Start build. Yeah, I just typed the wrong format. Okay, so we should have our raw file now. Okay, so now let's go into Unreal Engine, and we'll bring this in, and I'll kind of just at least set up or just show the basic where we're trying to get to in Unreal Engine with this. Okay. This is the one. I've been, which I didn't want to do in the stream, but I've been bringing in, like, I have multiple files from Unreal Engine 5.1, 5.2, and just keeping them organized and then upgrading to new versions is nightmarish. I can only imagine what it's like for big dev teams. You know, it's why, like, when you start a project, you typically would be like, all right, we're doing this in Unreal Engine 5.2. That's it. If they do 5.3, 5.4, you don't upgrade unless there's some massively important, like, feature that you absolutely have to have. And then you would probably have, like, a pretty complicated process, I'm sure, to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a new level. I'm just going to do an empty level. And then we're going to sort of bring this down to here, and I might as well just double check that I did the stream is unmuted. Looks good. You can see it. Okay. So we're going to do a new level, and then we're going to go to landscape, and we're in manage. So we're going to go import from file, and we're just going to go grab in Cathedral Cathedral working Gaea output, and then this raw file. See what happens. Height map resolution invalid. Amazing. I don't know what that would be, that's not working, but I'll do another one just to see if it works. A PNG file, build start that build. And then we'll try the PNG. The raw file should work, but we'll see. I think I'm just not, it's not my day today. Okay, cool. So let's grab the PNG and see. So now we've got some terrain. It's always hard to tell if the scale is going to be right when this loads, 'cause a lot of times it looks off. It's interesting that it's dipped. Why would that be? Doesn't look like to me that it's dipping at all. I don't know. Let's just let's bring it in and see what it looks like. I don't know what the dip is for, and if that actual scale is probably way off. Okay. Okay. The scale's off. And there's weird, maybe it's just an optical illusion. No, there's definitely a dip there, which is not what I wanted. You know, but we've got some terrain at least. I would like to understand. Oh. I don't know, I didn't see the setting before, to be honest. I wonder if that's all, I wonder if that'll do it. There's just like special, I just saw the resolutions were different for Unreal Engine there. That's interesting. I don't know, I never saw that before. I don't feel like that's going to solve the problem, but maybe it will. Okay, so let's get rid of this landscape. Go back into landscape mode. And we're going to grab this new file. No, it still can't, it's still not getting anything from that. Oh, interesting. It gets the R16 file. So maybe that was just the mistake I made, that the R16. Okay, so weird. All right, so let's go back into Gaea. Let's do one more. This time we're going to do the R16, but we're going to make sure the resolution is, we'll set it to 433. Cool. All right. So we're going to try that file now, which is this one. Let's just get out and back in. Just don't know why the file resolution didn't change. Okay, well, yeah, look, it's definitely not what we wanted. I don't have to give up on this soon. I'm just, Hmm. The scale could be off, but I don't know. Starting to look better other than this weird reverse thing. Sometimes with the scale of these things, like to get it, there's a bunch of formulas and stuff I can run just to like make sure that I get the actual proper height, which I would want to do. I'm not really sure what was going on with this, but at least this looks similar. And they sort of help me here, just sort of at least, at least get something running so we can look at it here together. Sky atmosphere, extraterrestrial white fog. Volumetric crowds. Okay. Yeah, so this is at least the terrain in Unreal Engine now. There's a whole bunch of stuff here to get into, right? One of the challenges with this particular landscape, which is solvable a couple ways, is that it's nearly vertical, and that just comes from it's legitimately almost vertical. If you look at Cathedral Rock, and you just look at, in some cases it's actually more than vertical, and LiDAR does a really, really, really tough time of handling that. It's much better when there's actual gradient elevation change. It doesn't handle like it. Basically, if you can imagine. I don't want to go into that. Basically, if you can imagine, it's trying to get the elevation of every single point, like every single. Oh, it's doing some weird stuff. Every single point, but every single point from straight down is actually got different elevation data because it's vertical, so it really has trouble doing it, and there's no really way around it except to either add a bunch of procedural erosion to this to kind of make some basically stratify the landscape a little bit, which can help, or just use other objects to basically stack in here, which luckily I've got lots of those, so I should be able to do it. But generally, at least, we've got something. And then, I could get into this in terms of texturing this and starting to bring in mass and all that. But I'd rather get that data issue resolved first, so I can actually bring in the right landscape. And then we can start to experiment with adding terrain and texture to this stuff. Just because it'd get a little complicated going through that process with 30 minutes to go. But there's terrain, and we can kind of control the lighting. And you can see the shadows going across, and especially when you're dealing with fog or you're dealing with lighting, from behind this thing, it can start to look really cinematic. But there's still a lot of stuff to do in this scene to bring it together. But at least you've got an outline that looks something like Cathedral Rock, and if I remember right from the render, we're dealing with some type of a composition where this side is blocked. So the elevation and location blocks that one on the left and creates something like this. And if we kill the fog situation a little bit, bring it down 0.01, 0.04 and even just drop the fog. Yeah, something like that. You know, we've got at least the outline. And, you know, with lots to still do. And even from like a height standpoint, we're probably like want to be nice and low like this. There's a lot here to add, but at least I kind of got some train in. I'll end up just going through that process, getting that merged probably off stream. And then hopefully when I come back to stream, we can run through Gaea and adding, you know, some different layers and stuff to this to kind of see if we can simulate some of the detail that we need in the actual landscape. So I'm going to call it for a stream a bit early just because I've got to dive into all of that GDAL stuff and all that other technical things that are going to be really brutal on the stream. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And I'll be back at it early tomorrow morning, back working in Blender on the meme card. Peace.